Happy Friday! What is up, party people? A little shkebobber. It's broken there. Man, it's been one of those weeks, hasn't it? You know, it's been chaos when my aunt's asking me about the Epstein stuff, and she pays no attention. She saw it like on TMZ. And I'm like, oh, God. She's like, what do you think? I said, you know what? I think we're never, ever going to find out ever the real story of any of this now. That's what I think. At the end of the day, if you believe something, you believe something. It's the powers that be, the powers that were there, all of that stuff. I don't think for a moment we're going to find out anything.
Oh, stop it. You know the government doesn't hide things.
They absolutely hide things. That's what they do. They live to do stuff like this. They live to hide stuff. And now it's like, what will happen? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But they're going to go to the grand jury. And it was a great way to say, we got to go to the grand jury and see if we can, Well, you don't need to go to the grand jury. What about the stuff that was on her desk? What about that stuff? You're going to go get something unsealed? Okay. Well, good luck to you. I'll wait for should we do one of those podcasts? Give it a cool name? And we just sit in one of the rooms where everything's kind of like, it's a dark background and the light's on and another one, and we just discuss it in soft voice. And every once in a while we bring somebody on that we go, let me tell you about this. And you're like, oh, tell me more. There's no doubt. Look, this guy, take away all the crap. The dude's a bad dude. He's a scumbag. And yeah, do I see the palace intrigue in all of this? Hell to the yeah. How could you not? It's not going anywhere. So Trump's going to have to deal with it. It's in a sphere that he doesn't control, which is that average voter that pays very little attention to anything. That's the sphere of which this thing has landed. So he's going to struggle with that. Last night, Colbert made an announcement. He's gone.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And yeah, I share your feelings.
Oh, no. So when does he leave? Is it today? Is it tomorrow?
I wish somebody else was getting it. And it's a job that I'm looking forward to doing with this usual gang of idiots for another 10 months. It's going to be fun.
Is it? Now, people are like, well, what are they going to do at night? They're going to put somebody else there, right?
It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away.
And there's a reason for that. There's no money in it. The entertainment world is completely fractured. There's more money than ever before and 1,000 gazillion ways to make it. That model is broken. It is. It's absolutely broken. So I broke down the numbers, and it was really interesting. Trying to compare as best that I could Johnny Carson and Colbert as far as all of the numbers. And I adjusted them for inflation. So I'll give you the best that I can to show you how much things have changed. Average right now for Colbert has been about 1.2 million to maybe 2 million at best. But right now he's sitting right around 1.2, 1.3. Carson averaged about 10 to 12 million a night. Now, streaming brings in other stuff. You got some of those things. Those numbers are semi-okay. But the advertisers aren't there. And the cost is tremendous. It cost, get ready for this. What do you think it costs to do his show a night?
I would say, I'm going to guess, including his salary and then everybody else's, you're probably looking at $5 million an episode.
So about 200 to 275 million a year, depending on how much he works and all of that stuff. Interestingly enough, his salary is only 15 million.
Only
with some bonuses, 20.
Poor guy.
Johnny Carson's salary the last 10 years from 81 to 91 was 25 million a year, which was about 90 million in $80. And back when he finally retired, it was about 55 million as far as if you adjust for inflation. Johnny Carson brought in over $100 million a year, though, for NBC. He brought in massive amounts of money. Now, he didn't have to compete with everything else, but he also had a larger audience because politics wasn't the only thing. He would make fun of whoever was in the White House. Didn't matter. They were free game. Last night, like Colbert, what did you expect? Your guest tonight is anybody who's a senator that's a Democrat. Adam Schiff? What? Who wants to watch that? Even if I like the senator, which I don't like any of them for the most part, why would I want to watch them do a talk show? So it became a lot of chaos. Now, here's the other thing. Could you say politics was involved in this? So as we all know, they are trying to have a merger done. So the CBS, Viacom, all these people, they're trying to get this merger done. That's why they paid off Trump on 60 Minutes, because they want to just get that thing done, because they're trying to get this done, because you've got to go through the Trump administration to have the merger approved. So some people are like, this is why it's happening. This is it. No, it was a dollars and cents thing. And I don't, a lot of people in my business, they're like, good, he sucks, he's the worst. I don't know. Let me tell you the last time I watched late night television. Johnny Carson. Maybe Arsenio Hall. Maybe. Like that. That's it. Because I never did anything for me. But I don't ever wish anybody any ill will, because these businesses we're in are tough. There's few jobs. A lot of people want them. And, he's lucky he's leaving with a ton of money. But the reality of how tough it is, this is the ever-changing world that the media is in. Somebody with a cell phone and an okay mic is getting so many views that blow away the average television viewership. And in fact, what we're going to talk about a little bit later, a show that went off the air 50 years ago, just to show you, is streaming now and has been a solid streamer, is now in Nielsen's top 10. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's the fragmented world we live in. And it's a dollars and cents world. And we were talking about this in our business. I mean, like my national show. I always tell everybody, I understand how blessed I am. Because my national show, I'm on like 100 stations across the country. I'm super blessed. Guess what? There's 100 people that don't have jobs. Everybody's trying to always look for a way to cut. So was this political? I think eventually, at the end of the day, if you're making virtually no money from a show and it's costing you $1 million to $2 million a night to produce, you're not going to keep that up. And that's not coming back. It's not like it's a lull and it's going to come back. It's been steadily going. And yes, he hates Trump. But stand in line with everybody else in Hollywood and everywhere else. Ooh, my. We're following what's going on in Los Angeles. So you
Can
guys
I say something real quick?
Yeah.
The whole thing with him hating Trump, part of what makes it so boring is that he's not doing anything unique there. He's just doing what everybody else does. And it's like, can we have some originality somewhere? That's
why, if I was to watch any of them, I'll see Fallon every once in a while, this music stuff. What I like about Fallon is he doesn't talk politics, really. He doesn't. He's just, I take a different path and this is it. And, he's okay, because he's trying to reach that middle part of America. Johnny was good in Los Angeles. Johnny was good in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Johnny was good in Tampa Bay and in upstate New York.
I've been a Colbert fan since he was on The Daily Show, though.
He was much better on The Daily Show.
I like his humor. But when you watch The Late Show, it's just more of what everybody else is doing. It's like, give me something that is you, not just part of a formula.
Yeah. And you watch these shows because you want to see a star or talk about something. And the reason they have a lot of these things, too, is because back in the day, once they started owning all the movie companies, right? So, Viacom bought this, there's Universal, there's this. It was a way to get all of your people on late night television to talk about their upcoming stuff. They don't need any of those things anymore. They don't. They don't need any of that stuff anymore. Why, why would you? And why do I want to watch Adam Schiff? Why? I don't want to watch him on cable news, let alone being interviewed. So tell me, Adam. You know what I would ask Adam Schiff last night? Hey, Adam, let me ask you a question about California. You guys tried to sneak a bill through. I know you're a federal, on the federal side of stuff, but still, you guys tried to sneak a bill through last week, and you decided not to go through with it. And are you ready for this? They put together a fund to go buy, for pennies on the dollar, a bunch of Pacific Palisades that had burned down so they could turn it into low-income housing. And people were not happy about that. After they warned everybody, don't do that. But instead, he's like, you're so beautiful. Do you hate Trump like I hate Trump? Oh, geez. We are following along with what's going on in Southern California. A massive explosion at a sheriff's training facility. And this is where, their SWAT version, if you will, their elite units train bombs and all that kind of stuff, and still trying to figure out exactly what happened. Happened early this morning. It did kill 3 officers and injured others.
Well, it's a training facility, but it's also the head of what's called SEB, the Sheriff's Enforcement Bureau. That is their equivalent of the SWAT team. The Sheriff's Department doesn't have a SWAT team. They call it SEB. But it's also their arson and explosives team and their bomb squad. So this is where they headquarter them out of. It's also where they house all their vehicles, and they do a lot of vehicle maintenance and do a lot of training at that center.
And Belle and I were watching it because I oddly enough, where did I get that? I got it on TikTok. I was watching something, getting ready to pull something off TikTok, and it was live. And I'm like, well, this is live. It just seems like it just happened. This is going on. And we looked and we couldn't see any building explode, blown up. We couldn't see any of the cars exploded, but apparently it did a ton of damage in certain areas. It is, and then of course, like Chris said, connect the dots. Sheriffs have been saying they're working with ICE when it comes to the bad hombres, apparently. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Everybody's going to try to find something about this that it could be a conspiracy. But it is a place where they train with their explosions and arsons unit, and they do use live stuff.
The LAPD is also going in, even though this was the Sheriff's Department, to help out the Sheriff's Department figure out what went on and to process the scene to determine what the issue was of what this was and why it exploded, what they were doing. And federal agents, I just talked to a federal agency who said that their emergency and evidence response team are heading that way.
So we'll find out. The ATF's there. Pam Bondi's not ruling anything out. But I told Chris, I wouldn't trust. Pam Bondi came here right now, and she told me, that's Belle, right? I'm Chad. I'd be like, I don't know if I believe you at this point in time. Let me go see first. I have to go see if I can get it unsealed. Ooh, coming up, we got a little Finally Friday sounds. Our good buddy. Our man, George Jones, he's going to bring it to us. And speaking of TikTok, I did something today. I woke up and firing up my computer, doing stuff, and I was on, because I posted a video last night, and I was looking at something and flipping, and it was a trip. I did a Q&A out of nowhere, and you want to show the power of the new media. It was weird. We'll talk a little bit about that. We come back. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Shane Gillis, and people are mad at Shane because he... the female athletes. First he said, is Megan Rapinoe here? He was, oh, good, because she doesn't look like fun. But then he said, hey, there's so-and-so in the audience, and he pointed to some lady, and she's a 4-time WNBA All-Star, and everybody clapped, and he goes, I'm lying. That's my friend's wife. You proving to me you guys don't watch the WNBA. So people, of course, oh, God. I was saying before we went to break, so check this out. Belle, you will appreciate this. I got up, getting stuff ready, turned on my computer. This is firing up. I'm flipping around on the answering some people that, on the TikTok that had sent stuff, comments and whatnot. And I flip, and I'm like, is that Sylvester Stallone doing a live? It was me and him and like 10 other people. And we're just asking him questions, and he's answering questions to us. It's crazy.
On TikTok?
Yeah.
So he's just
It was
chilling
just him sitting in front of his phone, just answer, hey, Jeb, yeah, you know what? It was really cool doing the in Saturday Night Fever, whatever it was, doing the thing where I turn and look at him and all that. It was neat. He was talking about how his name used to be Mike. That's what he went by at first. That was his Christian name when he first got into business and all that. It was
So what time was this, L.A.?
It was, I think he was in Italy.
Oh.
Or somewhere like that. It was, It was probably would have been about 2:30 this morning. So, and it was sunny. So he's probably in Europe somewhere. But it
he was just chilling out and talking to fans.
Yeah. And there was virtually nobody on it. He was just like, I'm just doing this kind of fun as I'm having some coffee, enjoying myself. And I'm like, that's the difference in today's world with media and everything.
That would have never happened 20 years ago.
Ever happened. So cool. Coming up, a lot of stuff still to get to. Birch is going to be on at 1 today. Thank you very much, Bell. Bell was early with that one. He had premature Birch it yesterday.
Wait a minute. I thought he was coming on Monday.
Yeah, so maybe.
My bad.
So, hold on. Ray wants to know when I'm going to come out and say I'm a never Trumper. You know when? Never. Because I'm not a never Trumper. God.
Now be nice and just give Ray some validation.
Ray, let me ask you a question. When are you going to come out and say he is your all, he is your everything? Right? Isn't that silly?
I think Ray's a little jealous of Melania.
Yeah. Who isn't, right? Coming up, a lot of stuff. We'll talk a little bit about Epstein, a bunch more craziness, chaos, some conspiracy theories that are going on about the Colbert thing as well. And we got a bunch of a lot of cool stories today to go through that are fun, that are not politics and insanity. And wait till you hear this about a 50-year-old show that's in the top 10 of streaming. And it is so bizarre, but I love it. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. It's funny, I can talk to Tim Burchin a little bit. I did talk to Stallone today, so that's pretty cool. Stallone didn't tell me where the aliens were either. That would have been cool. Let me tell you where they are. Just tell you guys this right now, they're over here. That's why new media is so just different. And this whole they canceled Colbert because he's mean and awful and horrible towards Trump. Yes, he is. And like Bell said, it's the same thing every night. I mean, you could watch a rerun of Trump, Colbert show from 6 years ago when Trump was president, and it's probably going to be near the same thing. It's just, there's nothing about it that's new. And if you're going to stand out, you got to do something different. And he didn't. And that was not a shocker that he was let go. He also, what was the guy? James Corden? Was that his name? The British guy? So he produced the James Corden show. That cost $65 million a year to produce. They were losing $20 million a year on the show. They brought that Taylor girl in, the comic. I forget her name. She's awesome. But to do a show after, and that thing didn't last very long because it's all too expensive.
It did so well, I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Taylor Tomlinson. She's great. She's hilarious. She's a comic. But you don't need this. You don't. AI is going to change a lot of things in the industry of television and broadcasting. Why they still have these huge studios to do the things that you don't need, that you can do on inexpensive cameras and get the same feel for, is beyond me. I don't know why. You could produce that show for a tenth and make enough money on it. But they're also going to come out with, you do understand that that they have to, go through the Trump organization to do this. And, it wouldn't be a beautiful Friday without us bringing on the potato. Who's the potato? Who?
Brian Stelter.
There you go.
As we know that the parent company has been desperate to get its merger approved by the Trump administration. That's partly what the settlement was about 2 weeks ago. And so there are a lot of swirling questions. And the reason this is not going to go away, Laura, is we are seeing Democratic senators jumping on this and demanding answers from CBS. Who would have thunk? We live in a world now, we live in an age where a late night comic losing his show becomes a political hot potato. But that's where we are.
Political hot potato. He's got millions of fans. No, nobody was watching it. Even in the streaming world, they weren't paying attention to it. And you need nowadays only to have clips. I mean, that's more important than everything else. And that's how you get. The funny thing is, it's a weird world where clips will draw you to a show that you may otherwise not have watched. Perfect example is I'm watching Boardwalk Empire. I never watched him. It was on HBO originally. I didn't care, whatever. And I saw several clips, and I was like, oh, I wonder how that went. And I find another clip, and next thing you know, I'm going to watch an episode, and I'm watching the whole thing.
That's exactly how I got into Blacklist, was just clips on YouTube. And I got so interested in, you see a piece of a scene, you're like, wait a minute, what happened? And then suddenly it's like you're going to watch the whole show because the clip got you drawn in.
So it's a different world. And he didn't do his clips very well because you're doing politics. And people now, if you want to watch politics, they want you to go deeper, and they want you to do it with people that aren't the Adam Schiffs of the world. They want you to do it with people that are controversial that you wouldn't normally have on. And he didn't do that. He brings on the same people. Brings on Nessa tonight, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. If I came to a late night show, and I've been to one late night show ever, and the only time I ever went to one, it was David Letterman, and he happened to be in London for a week doing shows. So we got to go. And I don't want to see a politician, right? You're in from Wisconsin, and you've got to sit there and watch Elizabeth, Warren, Hiawatha, talk about her time on the plains.
The only two times that I specifically remember Carson ever having politicians on was when he had Reagan on.
Reagan.
And he had, what's the old senator from who was the actor senator from Tennessee?
Thompson.
Yeah, he had Thompson on.
But Thompson was an actor.
But Thompson was on to announce that he was going to run for president.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the hook.
That was it. It was it. But if I showed up, because the whole thing is, you want to be in that situation. So if you've never been to a television show, if you've seen him, live before a studio audience, you go there. The goal is, okay, cool. I'm going to see a celebrity I've never, seen. Somebody can talk about their new movie. Maybe we're going to get a musical guest that's going to be awesome. And instead, you've got three old people with replacement hips talking about, Social Security and how mean Trump is. Even if you don't like Trump, that's not why you went there to see that.
Yeah, you're tuning in, listening to Bernie talk about how the same organization that's put us $37 trillion in debt should run healthcare.
Yeah, exactly, because that's not going to go bad for anybody. Speaking of politics, Trump, what's going to happen next? Because of the thing with the guy in the thing.
What happens next could be a pretty lengthy process. This is all subject to that court approval. They'll have to go to the federal judge in the Southern District of New York and ask for that review, because this grand jury testimony, of course, had been sealed. And they have to look at how this potentially could have an impact on the victims and how this impacts anybody that had testified and the process that played out behind closed doors.
I don't know what we're going to get, and I don't know how much we will actually believe. I don't. But the palace intrigue, as I was joking about it earlier, but think about this. If I told you there's going to be a show, all right? Now think about this. We've got, and this is for everybody, as far as it's going to cover the gamut of stuff. You've got a mysterious kind of goofball loser who becomes close with intelligence companies inside agencies inside of countries, that maybe he spies and blackmails people with human trafficking as well as maybe some arms dealing. He has billions of dollars that nobody can account for, including going into countries and recovering money for billionaires of other countries. On top of that, there's royals, there's murder, there is mystery. It's laid out to be pop culture. And that's the problem Trump's going to have trying to wrangle this in, because while he may be able to get some people in the base or this, that, and the other back, the fact is this has gone outside of that. So that person that votes once a year, not once a year, once every 2 years if they're lucky, but for sure once every 4 years, doesn't pay attention to politics outside of that, reads People magazine kind of stuff, TMZ, is more into the story about the CEO. Did you see the story about the CEO at the Coldplay concert?
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys didn't know, so there's a CEO of astrometer or something. I don't know. I forgot. It's like astronauts thing or something.
Whatchamacallit.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big place. And he goes to a concert, Coldplay. So it's already bad enough. So he goes to a Coldplay concert, and there's a kiss cam, and he's got his arms around a woman. That woman is his HR leader. She is divorced with kids. He's married with kids. It's not too far from their house. The whole thing's a nightmare. And Chris Martin says either they're shy or they're having an affair because they freaked out on the kiss cam, of course, and it exploded. The people that follow that are following this now. And this is also a story that is somewhat easy to understand for the average person. It's not in the weeds politics. It's just basic, this dude was bad. He did horrible things. This goes potentially to the top. He had a lot of tentacles that went everywhere. Yes,
it's bad enough when you get busted for having an affair, but when the boss is having an affair with the head of HR, that's really a little out there.
Well, she's probably in way more trouble than him because you're supposed to be the one enforcing all this. They're probably going to both.
Well, she's gonna have issues at work, and now he has issues at home.
Yeah, his wife took down all of her stuff because she got bombarded by people, because that's what we do. Everybody's like, look for his wife, look for his wife. So, to say that was embarrassing, there was no talking your way out of that one either. There was no talking your way out of that one. But people that follow that, who find that to be interesting and, like it becomes a story, that's who's paying attention to things like this. And that's why it's hard for Trump to try to get that genie back in the bottle in this. Coming up, again, the top of the hour. Tim Burchett, Congressman, is going to join the program. We'll talk about the Epstein files because it's big, and he's got a different viewpoint being on the ground, being in and around there. And, what are people saying there? Because this is not going to go away, and Trump is going to have to try to deal with this as best that he can. And I don't think there's too many unforced errors so far. And does he trust the likes of Pam Bondi? That's a good question, because I think from hearing from a lot of you, I don't. And that happened long before this nightmare that started because of that goofy release last week. If you're missing the show, we say shame on you. Grab the podcast. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. So this was, we talked earlier this week about the biggest shows streaming-wise, and Nielsen has its things for the week, and they do it differently in certain categories and stuff, and this was for the year. This was incredible. Guess what snuck into the top 10 and has been there for quite a while, and it's always done really, really well. It's been gone for 50 years.
Gunsmoke, starring James Arness as Matt Dillon.
50 years it's been off, and it is in the top 10. It streams, so it streams on Pluto TV, which is owned by Paramount Plus itself, and Amazon, you can get it. Not all of the seasons there, but it's on several different things. It regularly brings in hundreds of millions of minutes a week. And on MeTV, get ready for this, during the day, so we're talking about, what's his name, Colbert, like, I'll give you some crazy numbers. He's averaging about 1.2 million viewers per show. Jake Tapper, 560,000. CBS Mornings, 1.8. MS, Maddow, 1.9. Gunsmoke, middle of the day, rerun, 50-year-old show, 600,000 to 1 million viewers are watching it on MeTV.
And it's not like it was just any old show either. I mean, it was, at one point, it was the longest running scripted show on television.
Yeah. It was 20 years. Matt Dillon roamed the West, took care of Dodge. And when they left, actually, in 75, it was still doing really well in the ratings. It withstood all of the other shows that fell around it, Western West, because they were flooded with Western. People turned to cop shows. And they thought they were coming back for another season. So there was no, epic, let's send it to an end. And that was it. They just canceled it up and out of nowhere. And there was more. There was other shows that came as far as TV shows. They did several TV movies about it. But the show is booming. And one of the reasons is times of uncertainty, times of stress, times when people are busy, they want comfort food. So what's comfort food? Comfort food is stuff that you can watch, you're familiar with the characters, and you can do other things and then jump right back into it and not be too lost. And that's what this gives people. We see that with things like The Office, Friends, Seinfeld, MASH. But MASH doesn't have the same kind of oomph that like Friends and some of these other shows do. And even this, which I'm surprised that it doesn't have that kind of oomph. But that's what people want. It's easy to follow. Family Guy. There's a reason they battle for streaming rights for these things, because they understand what it's truly about, which is the viewership in these things are always going to be there. The South Park. So right now, South Park was supposed to debut next week. It's not going to. Part of that's that whole deal with the CBS and the merger. They were getting ready to sign a new deal. And that new deal, because it was supposed to be worth in excess of $2 billion, because it is their number one streaming thing Paramount Plus has. And that's been the battle. And right now, those guys are out. If you're not going to sign us because they're there till 27, then they said, we'll start negotiating with other people, which would be a huge negotiation.
Yeah, and they could probably, if they're going to get $2 billion from the company that already they have deals with and they have a history with, there's going to be somebody out there that's like, well, we'll pay you $3 billion.
Yeah. Absolutely. And because it's a forever thing. You've got something that will live forever. And the one thing they're noticing about even Gunsmoke, half the audience is over 65, but they have a huge audience under like 40. And the other thing is with South Park, they're noticing a lot of teenagers and young adults are watching. This thing's been on longer than they've been alive, and it's bringing in new people all the time. All right, coming up, Tim Burchett's going to join the said program. We're going to talk to him about, I don't know, the Appropriations Committee. No, Epstein. We're going to see
UFOs.
We'll see if he'll go get the files for us right now. We'll read them on air. I don't know if he will, but we'll ask him straight ahead. If you missed any of the show, shame on you. Grab the podcast. Hour number 2, straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.